Good afternoon. Sorry we're at such a late start, but we're having this great conversations about what we're going to be showing you guys with the next couple months. It might be horror. It might be more fantasy. Probably with this group, it's going to be some more fantasy. Who knows? But today we're going to be talking about the 1973 Westworld, the movie that put the did you just see that? Yeah, I just saw that into your thought process. It has cowboys, it has Romans, it has deadly robots. Who would want more? Who would want less? So, Shadow, this was your pick.
Yeah, it was.
Why? Why would you put a Michael Crichton film in front of me? Yet again, another Michael Crichton film.
Because
Honestly,
it
I
didn't
didn't
have
know
Charlton
that. I was,
Heston in
I
it.
was,
Sorry about that.
I was actually surprised to see that. Not a fan or have anything against any of the guy's work. I just I really liked the whole concept. It tied perfectly in with the game that I was running, and mind you, I knew the game that I was running was going to. I had the idea before I had the opportunity to even think about this movie. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Maybe help Connell, get into the idea of and spirit of the game. And I love westerns. I love sci-fi. I like robots. Some of my favorite movies include Bicentennial Man and a few others. I love the character data. And that idea of is it possible to make a machine that for lack of a better word, has a soul, that is a person and isn't just a toaster. The Battlestar Galactica was another, the new one was another big inspiration for me. And Kai's character is a soul inside a suit. And I've always played in my sci-fi games with the concept that it might someday be feasible, kind of like in Ghost in the Shell, that someday we may be able to download one's consciousness into a machine. I wouldn't be part of those people doing it. I'm not a proponent, but I find it fascinating to contemplate whether that sort of a thing is possible. And with this movie, it for me, it shows like those beginning steps that we would have to take to get there. And of course, Yul Brynner's in it, basically playing the same character from a previous movie we
Oh
watched.
my God.
And
He walks on the screen. I'm like, wait, did I put on the right movie? Because I'm thinking I'm watching Magnificent Seven again. Where's, Steve McQueen and the rest of the numbskulls?
Yes.
Believe it or not, I saw Future World in the theater first. I didn't know there was a Westworld, and then my dad said, "Hey, that's the sequel to Westworld." I'm like, What?" And he's like, I'll let you know when it comes on. I'll look in the TV guide and see if it comes on. Let you know." And I watched it. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic!" Because again, this would be one of those steps if we ever were to try and implement that technology, which we're gonna try. I actually actively follow the progress Japan and other countries are making with trying to make fully functioning robots that do all the things that people can do because there's a massive desire for it. It kind of like, humanity's step toward imitating God and creating a life of our own. And how would we do it? Well, we would do it with machines or in a laboratory by splicing stuff together. And what's being done in that field is absolutely amazing. We're this far away from making robots that are living, walking test tube baby factories. I mean, I'm serious. We're not that far away from it.
Maybe it's just me. That terrifies me. I think I saw
Me too. Me too.
Terminator way too early in life. I don't like the concept of AI. I get why it could be useful. It could be a great tool. It could take it to the stars. There's a theory once AI kicks off, everybody will be getting a check from whatever for like $2,000 a month. You no longer have to work. It will take over McDonald's. It will just take over. And to me, that is scary as hell. That is absolutely mind blowing, scary. I'm a
It honestly
caveman.
should be. I think it should
Any
be scary.
anyone watch Wally?
But
That's it.
but if something doesn't stop it, I think it's truly inevitable. Mankind, we're just a couple of guys here. What we say isn't going to amount to a hill of beans. You know, unless we start a big cult, an anti, Butlerian, cult to keep this from happening. It's going to happen, or we'll find out it's impossible. But in the meantime, it's a fascinating. Even like Star Wars, you can't watch those movies without wondering, how sentient those droids are. Everybody treats them like living beings, even if they're second-class citizens. They still treat them. Luke especially was always nice to these machines. There's no reason for that. You could treat them like shit. They don't have feelings, or maybe they do. And if that's the case, what's really going on? Are we going to go out into space and find out that that's like the most common thing ever? Is everybody eventually just downloads themselves into a machine, and we're the silly meat bags that haven't gotten there yet? It's just really fascinating. And then throwing it into a Western situation, because I was I asked Jackie, if you could go there, which one would you go to? And he's like, well, definitely not Roman world, the degenerate bastards that would go there for but one purpose. The woman coming out of the at the beginning of the movie, she got railed 3 ways to Sunday there, from the robots with that look on her face.
What was the
this
option?
was back in the 70s.
The options, what was WestWorld, Medieval World, and
Roman World. Yeah, I believe is what it was.
I don't know. I can appreciate the Western concept, but I'd be torn between. Ooh.
I mean, I hate saying it. To me, I would rather go to Future World. Give me any day Buck Rogers and Princess Amidala.
That's another movie. That's another movie we're going to review down the road. All right. Well,
I would be torn between West and Future. And if you could mix the two.
Options of the 3: Medieval World, Rome, or Western. Let's be the first question. I'll start with you, Shadow. I'm pretty sure we all know the answer to this. But of the 3, which one would you go to?
It would really depend on how sentient the robots are, because I might go to Roman world for just to be able to relax. You know what I mean? Depending on what's going on, but more than likely it would be Westworld. Medieval world really didn't look, that exciting, because unless you're really ready to go into the sword fighting thing, you do that, which I don't. I know how to, but throwing on a suit of armor and sweating all day, and those clothing, the attire, and waiting for a chance to get into a sword fight has really got literally no appeal to me. The food and the music and the dancing could care less. But the horses, I was marveling at the concept of the robotic horses. There's actually, is that a horse? Is that a dog? In the hospital like area where they're those broken robots. I'm like, can you imagine what it would take to make a robot horse that would fool us to that kind of extent? That the technology and genius that it would take to make a robot horse or a robot dog that would fool you would be just staggering. Just to be able to get on one and pretend it's the old west, to have most of the more modern amenities, a bath and things like that, and of course the gunfighting, that would be for me, that would be a hell of a lot of fun.
Gotcha. What about you, Omanel?
Well, I'll be honest, the West, I mean, I can drive out and go to the West without even doing anything else. I mean, it's not that hard in Texas. So
you're in Texas.
Part of me goes, and this is like, well, I'd rather go to medieval world, but I don't like the medieval world that they presented, to be fair. That's the kind of thing like you'd have to go look.
It looked like it was like King John Lionheart, Richard Lionheart era medieval.
I'm sorry. I've lived in Germany. I've been around these castles, and I start looking over at that's. Guess what they did in the Middle Ages? They still had Roman baths. So and bakeries and all this other stuff. And I'd much rather go over to to me if it was going to be medieval world, it will rather than the. And to be fair, I can go to the Renaissance Festival, which is probably the same. So maybe that isn't fair. The Texas Ren Fest, we've got two of them, and I think Scarborough Fair. Anyway, we got two here in Texas that are pretty big.
We don't even have one anymore.
I mean, who knows what's going on post-COVID, but actually people are still coming out. But then the other one was, the problem with Roman World I looked at is the stuff I think is cool about the Romans is the stuff that you see in like Spartacus and stuff like that. And instead what I'm looking at is, Emperor Nero, debauchery, and I'm going, yeah, that's not the cool part I want to do. I'd much rather, I want some adventure along with that. Even after we watched Ben-Hur, to be fair, we've watched all this stuff. Ben-Hur looked a lot better than what I saw at Medieval World. So we did that. And just like you were talking about, the stuff that we did with Timeline, that looked like a better Medieval World. But to be fair, it's called WestWorld, not, but so we get into that. If it was more realistic, yes, but when I kind of look at WestWorld and I went, look, they got everything I have here. They got rattlesnakes and horses and a lot of dust. I mean, apparently even where Shadow lives, it wouldn't be that far for him. So.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's very, there are places you go downtown in one of the areas here and it looks like, almost Mexico, the Pueblo or whatever style architecture, on the main street and whatever the stucco buildings and what have you. But, the clothing, the gear, just the, everything, the hardship of, like when the main characters get there, dealing with, the little, differences, mind you, it was 1970s, which, isn't all that far away from the Old West. So I could, there probably were places in the United States that were still very similar to, the Old West, in a lot of ways other than plumbing and electricity.
If you go to Arizona, and I'll get to, really quick, I want to say, thank you, Mark, for joining us. I have a question for you, but let me finish this and I'll get to you really quick. Couple questions, actually. There's a place in Arizona, Tombstone, Arizona. If you want to experience at a tourist rate, you can see what the Old West kind of looks like in Tombstone, Arizona. They have play acting where you could go see the OK Corral shootout. There's places where I can't remember where exactly. Deadwood. I don't remember where Deadwood is, but Deadwood, you can see they will have a mock play of the night that Wild Bill Hickok was shot. There are places in the really real world where you can experience a West World, but not a WestWorld theme area. Does that make sense?
I mean, I was over by Chimney Rock in Nebraska, and just driving there, people forget just how vast the United States is. Go drive it, and all of a sudden you can see the West, even though you see modern amenities. You can still see what they saw, and you just, I think that people forget about that. I want to put this in modern day. People get on a plane and fly somewhere, and they just magically transport and ignore everything in between. When you take a car, you're just like, "Oh my God, the United States is so big. Am I ever going to get there?"
But I want to ask you, Mark. You watched the movie. If you could choose to go to, I'll do this after Mark does. If you could choose to go to one of the three locations that the park offered, WestWorld, Medieval World, or I'm just going to call it Rome because I don't know if it was called Rome World because that's just dumb.
Yeah, it was. Jackie made the same comment. Why is it called Rome World?
Okay.
That's retarded.
Why couldn't it have been like Nero's Playground or, whatever?
Or Imperial World or something, yeah.
Right, yeah. Which of the three would you pick?
Probably if I was single, probably the Rome World.
That's what it looked like.
Uh,
Uh,
you know, Mark has a hard life, with this, finding out where he works. He's like, yeah, you mean all day baths and I can go swimming and it's like Spa World is what they should have called it.
Yeah, that's what I would. The blanking of the androids aside, it looked like an incredibly relaxing time. Now, would I pay $1,000 a day? No, I wouldn't. Not even in 1970s money, mind you. I was, like,
I mean, there's
um,
places out there outside of Disney that you're paying almost $1,000 a day anymore.
Hey, Disney, you were paying $3,000 a day if you went to their Star Cruiser hotel,
Which is closed down. It's now going to be the new Spirit World.
That's
no, that's
right.
a bad joke. Actually, never mind. Between the three worlds, especially when it comes to me, it's torn. I mean, the Western history has always slightly amused me. I have Western historical people that I would love to have a conversation with. Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, and a few, half a dozen other people.
Mark Twain and Jack London. Those are the only two I can think of I'd want to talk to.
Mark Twain. Oh, God. Yeah, Mark Twain. Jesus. I would love to have
Buffalo Bill Cody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rome,
Yeah, Buffalo
Rome-
Davy Crockett, Daniel Boone. I mean, come on, man.
Oh yeah. I love medieval. Although I have a feeling if I went to the medieval world, it would basically be going to those restaurants called medieval times. That's kind of what the feel I got from that. Only
I totally agree with that.
Hey, wait a minute. You mean I'm allowed to eat with my hands and people don't look at me weird?
right.
No,
So that
Clearly,
kind
you've
of
never
leaves-
had dinner at the Shadow household.
if
well,
Rome-
tacos are canned food anyway.
if the Rome world offered let's say a speech or a whatever to sit down with Socrates or Pluto or any
Pluto?
not Pluto, Plato.
Well, isn't it Disney again? No.
Plato. I meant Plato. Any of the old world philosophers.
Okay, so we're talking Greek here.
Yeah, but it's Rome, and they stole everything anyways. But anyway,
They adopted it.
well, yeah, okay. They stuck their flag on it and says, "Now it's mine." That's really
Hey, being part Greek, you can take whatever you want because that tells me my culture is superior. That's whatever this cultural appropriation is. It's like, no, that means your culture has something worth stealing. If it isn't, then it means your culture is crap. Anyway, sorry. Sorry.
Out of the three parks, I probably would go to Rome Land just to relax on go swimming, go bathing, sunbathing, and if I could listen to lectures from any of the old school philosophers, to me that would be worth $1,200 a day. I mean, just right there, because from a intellectual point of view, that would be amazing, absolutely amazing. I don't want to go have dinner over at medieval times, and doesn't matter which park you go to, you're going to be crapping in a hole. So that that makes no difference.
Hey, that's the Old West too.
I know you're crapping in a hole in all three parks. You'll be crapping in a hole. But yeah, I think it'd be Rome, and not for the
debauchery,
just for the actual. Nero's pleasure boat when built, was the largest boat known to mankind. It beats Noah's boat. It was huge, right? It had a pool. It had everything you ever needed.
And then it was firebombed.
Right, and having some attractive person feeding you grapes and wine and cheese, that doesn't sound like a bad deal for me. It doesn't have to be, hide the sausage. It could just be relaxing.
Well, you know what though is I have to laugh at this because my friend who's a doctor told me when he was going through medical school, he said, "We're just relearning everything that the Romans already knew."
Oh, the gladiator, the historically the gladiator doctors were some of the best physicians of that era, and probably still kind of better than some of the quacks we have now. But that's besides the point. So
just because he got paid $400,000 over $400,000 a year, anyway.
the actors. I mean, I'd love to ask who was your favorite character in this, but this show. I mean, there was what in the entire movie, except for the other guests, there was only 2 real people in the show, and one of them passes on fairly quickly. Less
You
within.
have the robots.
Okay. What do you guys think of Peter Martin's portrayal of that? Yeah, Richard.
Which one was which?
Benjamin?
Which one was which? You didn't
Peter
have to.
Martin was the guy who survived.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, I forget.
John.
He's the one
Yeah. What was? Oh, hold on. Look up the guy's name. He is famous. His son was James Brolin was John Blaine.
Didn't he marry Barbara Streisand?
If he did, that was a hell of a move for him. Spouses, yes, he did. Yes, he did. His oldest son, you might know him from such things as Thanos and the Marvel movies, John Brolin. Or if you're of a certain age, he was the older brother in the Goonies movie, because Goonies don't say die. So
and No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Cable and Deadpool. I mean, he's got a long list. So, which character in the movie did you guys like? I mean, there's a small selection. But do you like the Man in Black? Did you like Peter? Who was the guy that you're like, I like that guy? I'll start with Omen.
Oh, great! I'm gonna do this. No, I've got to go for Yul Brynner just because I love Yul Brynner whenever he's doing that. One is, it's funny because he's only like 5'8". He's not the tallest guy out there, but he carries so much presence throughout the film, even as the psychopathic killer that has a robot. There's just something when he walks. It's just you saw it in The Magnificent Seven, and he carries it through this film as well. As he owns whatever screen he's on, and so that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
All right. What about you, Mark?
Since he said Yul Brynner, I'm gonna go with Brolin. I guess I liked, and I was surprised that he wasn't the main guy at the end.
All right, Shadow.
Same thing. Peter, I like John. Excuse me. I like John. He had that enthusiasm. He'd been there before. He fell in love with it, and he's bringing his buddy there because he wanted to share. The best things in life are shared. He wanted to bring his buddy there, and he was just you couldn't get more into it than he was. He was role playing. He was, but in real life, that's one of the great things I liked about this whole concept is it allows you to role play, and it's not LARPing, in the way we, talk about it. I'm not going to, try and disparage it. But that's what this was, he was role playing, he was getting into it, doing, all the little things, appreciating every little detail, even the deficit and the lacks, the lack of technology and all that. It was like, that's why I'm going, I want to rough it, so to speak. I want to get the whole, full 3D, every senses immersion, only to, die. Whereas Peter was, he had the character arc. I love the fact that, Peter, real quickly started being able to do the spin with the pistol, and, clearly he practiced, before filming, but he got into it, but then, when it came down to, me versus the robot, it's like, I don't stand a chance. I'm out of here. I'm not going to try to out gunsling a gunslinging Cylon.
All right.
And it looks like we have a wood crawling gamer trying to sneak into the show without any vision. That's weird.
I hope I wasn't a bad influence. Like, what are you doing with a homework when it's the last week of school. So,
All right.
No, I was just planning on watching South Park with my mom.
oh, okay.
Okay.
'Cause
Thanks.
that's more entertaining than listening to like four old guys talk about a movie that's older than at least one of them.
Well, I think it's. I don't know.
Well-
When did this movie come out?
73.
Well, because this might actually,
I was
depending when it came out, it might be older than I am, just by a little tad. Maybe I don't know
Yeah,
about Mark.
I was
there.
6 when it came out, so I couldn't have seen it in the theater. But to be fair, the weekend is the only time Jackie really gets to spend with his mom. So
Yeah, if
I
they
totally
don't watch
understand.
South Park, I'm not gonna hold it against them.
No, I realized that I actually do have a lot to say about this movie.
Go for it. Next.
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah,
Do you want me to go off now or after the first hour?
No, go
That's
off
about-
now.
Well, little Kai, tell us how you really feel. Let's just hear your favorite character.
I don't really have a favorite character. I'm
Maybe-
tempted to say the
Dog.
cowboy man, the man in black, whatever.
Huh?
But he's not really a character. He doesn't say anything meaningful except in the very beginning, and that's not really meaningful anyways. And then after that, he only knows how to do two things, and that is walk forward and shoot.
And Ryan.
True, he can ride his horse.
Well, I don't want to say you're right. He doesn't have any lines, but the actor could portray so much of what he was thinking by his facial expressions that drove the character more than anything else.
I'm gonna.
I mean,
And he
I
actually-
suppose.
He had a couple of good one-liners. Get this man a bib.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
what, in the
pretty funny.
beginning it was all right, but afterwards he just walked forward, and that was about it. He was the best part of the movie, undoubtedly, but that's just because I hate everybody else.
But
I
I,
hate
I,
everybody
well, you know what? The other character I did like. Speaking of the robot, was the what was her? The madam.
Oh yeah.
I forget what they called her. Anyway, but no, I liked the whole. No, I mean, Jack, it's still a character. It can be a one-dimensional character, but it's still a character. And how is that any different than the Terminator? Just walking forward,
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is that I suppose he's a character, but he doesn't have a character. He's absolutely the best part of the movie, undoubtedly. But does that mean he has a character?
But I mean, yes, he is a character. You can there's a style of acting where you just don't say. There's no words in the entire thing. It's by expression and movement, and not everything he did was very old school style of acting. You could say, he did SAG has a bare minimum of lines that a actor could say, depends on how much he can get paid, and I'm pretty sure he flew right underneath that for acting. But I think he portrayed the character. It's like, okay, this is your character. You are a robot who had a misfire, and you're going around killing everybody.
Well, you know what I thought was interesting is he didn't. He just kept coming after the same guy over and over again, which was the really interesting part. Was notice he kept coming towards those two. He gets shot again, then come back again. It wasn't like he was really trying to go after anyone else. I mean,
it kind of had that sort of dual feeling. The movie. What was his name? From a Cloud, the guy who was in that movie. God, I can't remember his name. I want to say Dennis Weaver, but I don't think that's right. But it had that, that one-on-one man versus machine kind of feel to it.
Fair enough. Mark, did I ask you who your favorite character was?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I got everybody. I like the banker. He was my favorite character. The banker.
Hey, you remember last one we watched? What was your favorite character back in 7? The old man.
The old man.
I know. Coming out left field's great.
The banker, he was there with his wife, who looks like they're absolutely miserable with each other. He was there to have some shenanigans of his own and try to have a good time. He had nothing to do with anything but his own designs, and I thought he was brilliant. That was my character.
I don't know. I thought he
Wait,
was a little rapey, toward the robot. I mean, because what if that was a person? Would he
But
have
it
still done
wasn't
that?
a-
Probably not.
Right.
Right.
but
the
I know,
fact
just
is,
being
he
a
was
little-
still interested in a piece of machinery, and that's deplorable.
Well, there's a whole industry of business out there that makes money off machines and people. So, what
Who
can you
cares
say?
if there's an industry about it? There's genuinely an industry for murder and rape. Does that make them good things? Obviously not. Nobody would say that. But just because it's legal, does that make it right?
When you say-
Absolutely not.
When
The
you
law-
say, well, hold on. When you say murder, do you mean murder or this guy just needs to be bumped off?
I could mean both exist.
I mean, okay. So if somebody hires somebody to go bump off Hitler back in the day, is he really a bad person?
Here's the problem. Why would you
Um,
go for Hitler first and not Stalin?
Yeah, exactly. Hitler.
Sorry.
Yeah, why would if you're going to go back in time and kill someone, Hitler shouldn't. It's on most people's number one. That's because they have a flawed understanding of history. If you really want to go back and kill someone to actually, why don't you kill some of the? Oh no, am I getting kicked off again?
Well, here's the thing. Hitler should be number 3. We gotta go for number 1, Mao, number 2, Stalin, number 3, Hitler.
Throw Mussolini in the mix, you got yourself a party. Anyway,
Mussolini was not actually that bad when you actually read into it. Not only did he do a lot to protect Italian Jews, but his ideas were nowhere near as awful as Hitler's. He only reluctantly allied with Hitler because he saw Hitler as the the strongest power in Europe, which he kind of was. He absolutely was. And they had the same enemies. That's the only real reason they allied. Mussolini and Hitler absolutely hated each other. Hitler thought Mussolini was inferior, and Mussolini did not like being called inferior.
Well, I can't imagine very many people do there, Oz. All right, so I already asked these guys this question. Between the 3 parks, medieval times, Nero's pleasure castle, and the WestWorld, because the other 2 just had really dumb names. Which one would you go to? Knowing you just stay on the train, so just take me back home.
That's right. You know what? If you could let me drive that hover thing around, that would be plenty for me at $1,000 a day.
This question's to you. Which of the 3 parks in the movie would you have gone to? In silence,
Jack?
if you give me what? It's still there, bub?
Jackie, you there?
Okay.
Well,
Your son short-circuited. We told you they was in a prototype stage.
oh, he left us. Oh no. You can go back if you want. All right.
Sorry, that Shadow. You just had to,
I don't know, Roy, what to ask about
I
this
think
movie.
he was channeling Ben Shapiro. I don't know.
Oh,
That's just the impression.
Hey! He's finding the where the presidents play D&D.
Yeah. Just don't leave that guy alone with his own freaking sister. What was I gonna say? All right, back to this movie. There was all right, his phone was going off. Oh, that must have been Mark's.
I thought that was Jackie at that point. Like, Shadow, we're afraid that your son's been taken.
What did we think of the technology? I mean, what did you think of the? We kind of talked about this earlier, but it's a good question. I want to flesh out the the technology that was in Westworld, Rome, I'm going to leave alone, and medieval times are going to leave alone because there wasn't all that wasn't all that impressive in my opinion. It was just people playing dress up in those two ones. But in Westworld, what did you think of the technology that they had at the park for it being a 73? Shadow kind of went off on this one. I personally think it was really awesome. I know a lot of it wasn't technology, but actual real horses and dogs. But the concept was amazing. What did you think of it, Owen?
Well, I mean, when you're going through it, and of course, to be fair, it's called WestWorld, so we didn't actually see all the stuff that was going to be in medieval world. I mean, those were ancillary things. So there could have been a lot more to those two worlds for all we know. But no, I mean, I thought it was what probably got me the most on it was when you compare Westworld, and which sounds weird, when you compare Westworld on just how big it was, because they include the plains and everything else, there's this huge area in there. Whereas the other two, they kept it really in a small, confined area. Like the Rome one, he went in very quickly. And then the same thing with the, and then I still like the idea that they had the robot snake. I know that Shadow was talking about the horses, which I would say, oh, okay, but that's a little detail in there with the robot snake. And when the snake attacks him, he's like, wait a minute, that's not right. So I thought that was kind of interesting from that standpoint of let's just go for the attention to detail. And, when you talk about the technology, what I thought was more interesting was everything that was going on behind the scenes, not what was up above. Though that said, is why would you give them better visuals and hearing? I'm just going to leave it at that and be done with it. Hey guys, it's malfunctioning. Let's give it better visuals and hearing. Sorry.
All right, Mark, what did you think of the technology aspect of this movie?
What did I think of what about this movie?
The technology that Westworld was offering.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty cool. I think that's still premise of the movie is relevant today. Everybody's freaked out about AI, especially now everything with it's moving so fast that what's going to happen with it, it's another thing. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good and obviously it was ahead of its time, and Cameron owes a big thanks to Michael Crichton here.
I know it's another Michael Crichton movie. I might, I think I might sneak another one on during our foreign month.
You can't sneak another one in a foreign month. I don't know if there is one that
13th Warrior.
That's not foreign.
It's not foreign.
All the actors are not American.
No, but I told you no English.
I know.
Yeah, they are. They're all Viking
you can do that in your guilty pleasure month. That was the time after.
Invite Victor. Anyways, back to you, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, I thought it's still, obviously this movie's still relevant and holds up till today. I mean, I know all the computers and everything look kind of wonky, but when you think about it, it wasn't just the robots that went haywire. It was the whole system, because that thing locked all of them in that room and sealed that room airtight, and guys operating everything too. So it wasn't just the robots that went haywire. The whole kit and caboodle did.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I kind of said that earlier. The whole AI. I mean, I think it just saw Terminator way too early in life. I mean, the idea of that just scares me. And of course, I mean, I got friends like Jade who uses the Asmar argument. That Asmar can the rules that all robots are. They
Asimov.
Hey, I was somewhat in the ballpark. Get off my ass. But the robots are not allowed to hurt us. They can't hurt themselves. ... That's all gravy. That's great ideas. My counter argument to that is like, yeah, but you need somebody to program those laws in. They don't magically show up like water into wine. Somebody needs to be pumping those codes in to make it where they're safe.
That was the point of Asimov doing that when he was talking about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
to prevent it from being dangerous. Is you need to have those pre-programmed in there. And there are a couple, and that always brings an interesting part about that, whether we get an iRobot or something like that. I will say as much is it stood well enough that they actually made an HBO series of it. You know, what was it? Almost 40 something years later.
Oh, Westworld. The
Yeah.
first 2 seasons were amazing. The third and fourth left just did not. I don't know. There's a reason why I got canceled. Shadow. My screen jumped again because Jack joined us again. So, Shadow, I know you're
Yeah.
the one who basically started this. No, it's all right, Jack. It started this conversation on technology. Was there any? What did you think of it as a whole?
I think one thing that was very important was something that was really, just hinted at, which I really found fascinating, was the idea of the computer virus, which, as we know, soon became an actual thing. But back in the 70s, we weren't really thinking about it. But I think he was hinting at some sort of artificial intelligence that was developing within the system because of what was going on, because it wasn't just, random, malfunctions. Something was going on with the whole system becoming almost self-aware. And if you, spoiler alert, go into the sequel, you'll see that there was something actually probably very sinister going on, unbeknownst to all the humans involved. And had it played out, and I used it, the future world underlying theme that was going on. I used it in one of my games, and it was one of the first times I had a total party kill because the bad guys won, and they didn't just kill the party, but they took over the entire freaking planet and could very well have moved on to going out and taking over the rest of the galaxy because the players just kind of failed at following all the breadcrumbs to their origin. And I think when we get to watch Future World, I think we'll see more trends that actually became, or more predictions that actually became a reality.
Gotcha. Jack, what did you think of the technology?
As in technology, as in the technology to make the movie, or technology in the movie.
Well,
I've
you being a film expert in your studies, what did you think of the actual technology to make the film?
Well, on that front, I find it to be very good. Uh, just the techniques were, the scenery, everything was impressive.
Okay. And what about the technology that they portrayed in the movie?
Well, I was originally planning on saying that I quite liked it because I have a very strong stance on my views on AI and machinery, which basically boils down to shut up, it's not alive, it's inferior to us, it's a machine. Lines of text cannot equal a human mind, or even the mind of an ant. We are not we are not capable of creating such things. Only God can create such things, and the idea that some machine that we built can be even remotely equal to us in what makes us human is ridiculous. It may be smarter than us, it may be better at solving problems than us, but it's not better. So I was going to say that I quite like the interpretation that these machines just aren't people, but hearing what Shadow said about the sequel, I am beginning to take that statement back because I find the idea, yes, a machine takeover of Earth is plausible, but not one, it's not the greatest that humanity faces. But besides that, ignoring that, I just find the idea that somehow a machine can be superior to a human in any way other than problem solving is completely ridiculous.
So you can make it an ant theory. You can make a robot that is 10 times stronger than a human, 10 times more flexible than a human, 10 times smarter than a human in problem solving. right?
Yes, because those are all physical things, but maybe not the problem-solving thing. But
So
yes,
going with that thought processing, the only thing that separates us from a robot is, without going into the divine, because I'm not going to go into the divine thought, but is our curiosity.
and creativity, I suppose. But I always say, if you remove divine thought, if you remove God from a situation, you might as well just be throwing ponies and unicorns in there because it's completely unrealistic.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with unicorns.
Yeah, but they don't exist on Earth.
That's not the point. There's nothing wrong with unicorns. Go
That's
watch
not what I was saying.
Go watch Legends with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry. All right, that's fair. I see when it comes. I used to work at Chuck E. Cheese, and they had those robots that kind of
Five Nights at Freddy's.
What?
Five Nights at Freddy's?
Well, no, Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't work at Friday Night, but so.
Do you know what the E stands for?
Chuck E. Cheese? No, eat what?
Entertainment.
Oh, that makes sense. I'll never work there or ever go there ever again. Anyways, anyhow.
Do you know that Chuck E. Cheese has lore? It's very surprising.
Yes, it used to be known as Showbiz Pizza, but that was a long time ago. Anyways, so when I'm watching this movie, I'm looking at these things that they're supposed to be robots, but they're human actors. The only thing you can tell apart difference between a real human and a robot is their hands weren't right. They look like dishwashing glove fingers. That's kind of what I took out. So I thought that the idea of it was really, really cool. I thought that you're putting a synthetic latex, some kind of suit over an android, not android, but over a robot's body, and giving them all the movements that a normal person has. I thought that was a really, really cool idea. I mean, harking back to, like Shadow said, Data or any of the old robot movies, but this is being made in 1973. 1973. When was the first Star Trek episode? 1960.
Was it 67? Okay.
67. Then you had Star Wars. So they're all kind of roughly around the same.
Star Wars is 1977. That was a pretty big leap.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought it was early 70s. But anyways, but each of these shows had their variation of robots. In WestWorld with Michael Crichton, he did the big step. He made them actually look human. He didn't make them look bulky, shiny, a trash can on wheels. He actually made them look human, which I thought was really cool. When it comes to the animals, yeah, especially when they're getting worked on, I didn't actually care for that scene. Because when the horse... What?
But you don't like snakes.
No, it's not that. I appreciate it for what it was, but I didn't actually like seeing them being worked on, because they looked, when the horses were being ridden or the dog was actually running, it looked like a real dog. When it was being worked on, it looked like a sock puppet with metal bits inside of it. So it kind of broke the illusion for me.
I mean, yeah, I noticed the dog in the background, which was either a very, very interesting prop. Well, it was an interesting prop, absolutely. If it was taxidermy, I don't know why you would ever pose a dog like that, and why you'd ever sit it down like that. And if it wasn't taxidermy, and if it was just like a sculpture, then why would you use a complete, like, a standing up dog as your prop for a dog which is laying down?
Yeah, that's going to lead into my next question, honestly, that thought processing. But yeah, I thought the technology that they showed in this movie was amazing. I think Michael Crichton deciding to make his robots actually look like humans was creepy as hell, but also really cool.
Well, yeah, wasn't the
Star
whole
Trek
point?
did it too. Star Trek had the human robots.
But they did those later on.
No,
Mud's
remember
women.
Star Trek was canceled by 1970.
Yeah, Mud's women.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that episode, but I will have to look into it. Because when I think of androids, I think of Data. And that was
No. If you look at, like he said, with the Mutt's women, and they give them a logic thing that they can't compute and fries them.
Yeah. What about
They-
Doctor Who might have done it too before?
Doctor Who's robots
Oh,
were
yeah,
always
yeah.
kind of weird looking.
The Daleks or whatever they were. Yeah.
The Daleks, and you
No,
had
no,
the
there
Aren't
were
those not
others-
robots?
there were others.
yeah, those were the robots. God, what were the
The
robots?
Daleks are cyborgs.
The robots, the robot humans.
Cybermen?
Cybermen.
But there was another.
always
There
looked
was
like they had,
another
like,
one. Automaton.
Yeah,
or
where they
something.
were all white. Tom Baker, they had like white hair, and I think they had white hair, but they wore like these white jumpsuits. They were a race of sentient android robot creature from way back.
Tom
How
Baker
can a-
is one of my favorite doctors. A little bit of trivia for you. Do you guys know that this show had Alan? Can I pronounce that name? Eifenhoff.
So what about him?
Alan, the guy, Eifenheimer. German names kill me. Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, so
Oppenheimer.
Well, we're
You
talking
guys-
about, was he the son of
I don't know. I was actually trying to look into that. We're talking about it. I can't find it.
apparently Shay Shadow, your son's apparently trying to speak an African language with the clicks and is he
But,
picking
Yeah, it's Swahili.
okay, just
I
making
thought he
sure.
was doing a binary language to start the robot revolution or something.
Oh.
no.
We'll put that down fast.
You got the whole Predator thing going on.
The reason I'm bringing him up, he was the chief supervisor of WestWorld, and those who grew up in the '80s, he was also the voice of Skeletor.
Really?
Oh
Interesting.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Where's Bruce
Where's
when you
Bruce
need
when
him?
you need him?
Right.
Gee, give me a Coke.
I was just thinking that. All right, so let's go into the opposite side of this. We kind of talked about things that we appreciate about the movie. Was there any scenes that you think that they could have been left out?
Yes.
I can only imagine what scenes you're talking about there, Hoss.
Oh no, everybody knows. I am. If one of you doesn't know what scene I'm talking about, then I'm going to leave right now and never show up again. Partially because whatever stuff is in this meth lab is probably going to kill me, but that's besides the point.
All right, Omen. I'm sorry. It feels like this great big hot balloon in front of me, and I need to pull out the plug so it calms itself down. Jack,
Yes.
what scenes do you seen? Just one scene, not the entire movie. What scene?
Well, there are several scenes. The worst scene is.
No.
No. Let him go over a few scenes.
Okay.
What's
Okay.
your number one? What's your
Number one is the scene where the guy fricks the robot. All right, that's gay. I don't care that it's a woman. That's still gay. All right. Number two, the scene where the guy tries to kiss the robot. All right, that's also gay. I don't care that it's a woman. Still gay. And all the other scenes where people talk about like the attractiveness of the robots or try to make advances on robots. Yeah, that's all gay. It's all stupid. I hate it.
Okay.
Okay, no more romance in movies for Jack. Period.
Well, just no romancing the droids.
No, it doesn't
get it,
matter.
I get
It's all Mystery Science Theater 3000. Whenever they're kissing, you got to make that burbling sound or whatever they do in Mystery Science Theater 3000.
So I'm gonna pick out a movie for Jack here soon. It's called Homeward Bound. It had Michael J. Fox in it, where he plays a dog. There's the weird stuff that won't upset Jack. He'll love it.
I think what we should do, just make sure Jack isn't upset, is that he should have to watch Old Yeller, next year for the Western. No, I'm just kidding.
I imagine by all of your reactions that is an incredibly disgusting movie.
No,
It's not disgusting.
No,
it's
it's
just
sad.
incredibly sad. It's the
saddest movie of
tearjerker
all
of
time.
tearjerkers.
it's a strong kick in the field box.
That's right.
You will cry. You will cry.
I've only seen that movie once and never have any interest in ever seeing it again. Nah, I'm like, I'm good.
We have so many great westerns next year. We got Old Yeller. We've got Shane. What's a couple of other tear jerking?
Hondo.
So,
God.
So-
The kid that played in that movie was also the kid in The Nutty Professor, and he did a few other movies for Disney. And in the back of my head, I always get him mixed up with Will Wheaton because they look similar enough as when they were younger. Anyways, so now that the hot balloon that is Jack is been deflated, I'm gonna go to Omen. Yeah, Omen out. What scene did you think could have been taken out for this movie?
and I know it's a hark back to whenever they do stuff, but I did not like the bar fighting scene. That bugged me. I understand why it's in there, but it felt just so campy.
Apple Dumpling Gang comes to mind.
Yeah. I mean, that was just, I mean, I'm watching it. I just felt it doesn't add to the tension to the movie. It just felt so out of place. The rest of them I can go, whether I like it or not, it's like, but that one was one that I felt that could have been removed and nothing would have been lost at all. And I understand what Jack is saying with the romantic scene. I wish that something else had happened there. When you see the eyes go, like you knew something was coming, but I wish that it had been played off somehow, but it didn't. So that's where I came.
All right. Shadow?
I gotta agree. The bar fight was just so lame. It would have been okay if they'd shortened it, but they went on for an extra 5 minutes. It was completely unnecessary. It killed the building suspension, the suspense, excuse me, that was going on, and I'm just like, now you got to build it back up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mark?
I can't think of anything really other than that bar scene too. I'd have to agree with all the things everyone else said, but I think it was probably put in there to bring some levity to the movie. You know what I mean? A little break, give everybody a little break, to reset and everything like that. But yeah, and then we're looking at this at a lens, 50 years later, and that's you got to take into account this is how they did movies, back then. Even when we go back and look at these old monster movies and everything, like from the 40s and 30s and that, it was just a different style and different way things were done, I think, at the time.
That's fair. Actually, I don't have a problem so much with the bar fight per se, because it's a Western movie. Name one movie from that era of style of Westerns that didn't have the atypical bar fight in it. It was just, it was just okay. I'm watching Western. Hey, look, a bar fight. Haven't seen 15 of these already. So that one didn't bother me as much as I want to say as them fixing the robots. It just whatever illusion I had about watching a movie, being in part of the movie, watching the movie, absolutely went out the window when I saw them working on the horse and the dog. The people were fine. The woman working on, I'm like, whatever. But it was the horse and the dog that killed it for me.
Well, yeah, they're so big that it's hard to make it look like it's even. Yeah, I understand that, but I think it's somewhat necessary in there.
Oh, I get it. I understand. Get it. If they would have do a reboot of this movie with today's technology and having what's his name? Having
wait a minute. You mean like they did with the series?
No, I'm not talking about the show.
No. But the series really did a good job for that.
Right, the first two seasons, yeah. But now, honest to God, Westworld movie where they had John, the guy who played Thanos, play his father's role and movie whatever. If they were to do the same scene today with today's technology, I would have no bitch. It was just those robots look like, especially the horse. It looks like somebody just threw a sock puppet over a bunch of bits, and I'm supposed to believe that was a horse 5 minutes ago. Come on. You're muted. You're muted, Shadow.
I must have missed that scene. I wanted to say before I kicked myself off on accident, the fact that they had to say cue the bar fight, that just killed it for me. You know,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But the bar fight as a whole didn't bother me. It was just them working on the robots just kind of took me right out of the movie. I'm like, there's other parts of the movie, but I could definitely, if they would have just pushed them and pulled the camera around them, then moved on to the next scene without them working on it, I would have been, whatever. Maybe a balloon and a horse deflated, whatever. But them actually working on, I'm like, come on, guys.
Sorry about that. The reception down here in the meth lab isn't really that good.
All right, Jesse.
I know.
Breaking Bad reference.
No, I knew that when you said Jesse. I just didn't. Haven't watched that show yet.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
I will.
As your
Not
uncle,
till you're at least 15.
I was about to say 16.
Well, no, I've already watched a couple episodes with Ari.
I think we killed Omen.
I mean, he's watching South Park with his mom, and between the two shows, South Park is technically kind of worse.
Yeah.
It's a good thing his mom doesn't get like 90% of the jokes.
Oh wow, she doesn't.
Yeah, she just likes hearing Kenny talk.
Come on, I can't do his voice.
Kenny just.
Yeah, I was thinking in Cartman.
Stupid G.
Hey, now don't get me kicked off of YouTube. They're awesome.
Dang it! That's what I've been trying to do this whole time.
Screw you guys! I'm going home.
Screw you guys! I'm going home.
All right, guys. Is there any scenes in the movie other than the bar fight that you would change?
Yes.
Jack, you've already answered this question.
Everybody already answered this question, except for you.
I said change. If you could change one thing in a scene, what would it be? Yours, I'm going to pull Johnny Carson and put my hand right here, romancing the robots.
Like, why would you even want to do that? That's just so spiritually and physically gay.
Well, not so much physically, because those were male and female. I mean,
well, here's the thing. It's not a person, okay? It's not a person. It's a piece of machinery that's trying to stimulate a real thing. Not just a real thing, but a real thing with a purpose. Here's the thing. Gay fruit
just a mobile sock. It's just a mobile sock, okay?
Pretty much, yeah. I do not see any difference between that and freaking robots. I don't see a difference. They are essentially the same thing. There's no dignity in at least the actual legitimate thing has a purpose. That purpose is to help in the process of creating life. What other purpose does it have? And when you're just doing it to a robot, you're trying to get the benefits of it, quote unquote. You can't see my hands because it's completely dark in here, but without any of the actual consequences of doing it, because there's only one legitimate and moral reason to do such a thing, and that is to create life under the binds of marriage. And you can't marry a robot, okay? That's number one. You can't marry a robot. You can't create life with a robot, all right?
Are we going to do a meaning of life at some point? You know, the Body Python's a meaning of life. We need to get Jack to watch that with the singing and
Jack, how old are you? You're what, 15?
He'll be 15
roughly.
soon.
In about 7 years, come back and talk to me about, we'll have this conversation again.
Yes, we will have this conversation again. Sooner than that, I imagine. But we will definitely have this conversation then. Because...
Nope, 7 years. 7 years.
You know, this is the problem I see all the time, where degenerates can't seem to comprehend the idea that there are people that aren't degenerate in this world.
Oh, to be
So
young.
they just project. See, you're doing it right now. You are projecting right now. My Shadow does it too. He is constantly projecting.
No. All we're really doing is we're missing the naivety of youth. That's what we're really missing. We're not disagreeing with you. It is degenerate. Absolutely. That's that's the whole. We're not disagreeing about the degeneracy. That's actually part of the whole movie is the aspect of what makes us human. and
Well said.
that's so we're not arguing about the degeneracy. We're just arguing how vehemently you were angry at the movie for being degenerate.
I didn't even pick this one out.
Blame your dad.
I do blame
I was
him.
someone that picked Ben-Hur. I've been picking good movies.
You know,
You
there
haven't.
was a slight moment when I was thinking about this for picking out movies. I'm like, I could slide in back to the Future Part 3 into this into all
For
this.
the Western? Yeah,
As a Western.
You could.
I could have technically chucked in Star Wars the first movie. I'll
No,
be damned if somebody
that
tells
does
me
not
that's
count
not
as the
Western. You start
does
on a
not-
desert planet, everybody has guns.
Doesn't make it a West. A West. I feel like Western
That
is
does
a
not make it a
genre.
Western. That just makes it a Foreign Legion film. That's all.
All right.
Western
Hey,
is
John,
a
what did you
genre.
say?
All right. So
What did you say
technically,
about Firefly? That was epic. What did you say about Firefly earlier today?
it's the most Western to ever Western.
There you go.
Western is a genre. Technically, a movie can be set in 1880s America and not be a Western.
Yeah. Because that would be in the East.
Yeah, that'd be a mob movie.
Yeah, that'd have a bunch of Irish in there. We don't want that.
Hey, now.
Hey now.
No.
I honestly didn't hear that. It glitched out. It
You
censored it.
know, it's our turn to get reparations next. Okay, just say it.
Irish need not apply.
Oh yeah, don't give reparations to the Irish.
That means you don't get any either.
Anyways. Oh,
Why would I want your money?
Because you're a
Well,
child.
he's
You
just-
heard it here
you know
first,
what,
folks.
though?
I can write him out of the will, and he'll be fine with it.
Wait a minute.
I don't mean your money, all right? I mean the taxpayer money that is used to fund reparations.
No. The Irish deserve reparations because people keep stealing the pot of gold under the rainbow.
Good point. Good point.
Okay,
I
anyway,
changed my mind.
This video just became a hate crime.
anyway,
Let's do more of that. I am a big fan of those.
what was your question, Connell?
I am trying to remember where I put the whiskey.
You know where you put the whiskey.
Well,
You
you
drank
know what?
it
If
all
you can't
last
remember where
night.
you put the whiskey and you're Irish, obviously you cannot be trusted with money.
That's the point.
Mark
Question
is like
is-
right, his Mark's fingers hovering over the note button, isn't it?
Sorry.
I'm just glad he's taking a break from the Germans for once.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I like pre-1930s Germany. All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, no, pre-1920s Germany. Everything after World War I is just like you have the degeneracy of the Weimar Republic. Then you have the Nazis, and I don't think anybody here likes them. And then you have the constant, oh, we're so sorry for what the Nazis did for like 80 years.
All right, we're gonna play a game, Jack. You're no longer allowed to say degenerate. I'm gonna see how long we can last. All right, Omanau, if you could change any aspect of this movie, like a scene in this movie, what would it be?
Oh, you know what though? I'm going to say this much. And maybe it was just different character or something. Because after we watched El Cid and things like that, I wanted so much better of the Black Knight.
Yeah.
The Black Knight was a real letdown of that. I mean, I hate saying this. You had a great figure over for the gunslinger, but the Black Knight was just kind of. It was like, really, this
Michael T. Milker, Mikler, was the Black Knight.
But he was kind of small. I mean, he didn't fit the idea of a Black Knight. You know, I mean, come on. We were talking around the same time frame as the as the the Black Knight for Monty Hall, the Monty Python's The Quest for the Holy Grail. You could have given something like that. That was my whole point. The Black Knight to me should have been more intimidating and fearsome. That's what I would have liked.
He was more of a looking into his movies. He was more of a Western actor than he was anything else. He was I get that. What about you, Mark?
Anything to change?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of too much I'd change really. I mean, well, I would like to have seen maybe a little bit better. The props be a little bit better, but I think I'm pretty sure this movie was probably done on a shoestring budget, and they spent all their money having Yul Brynner in the movie. I think is what happened, but I thought they did a good job with what they had, and I could appreciate what they did with as far as practical effects and everything. I thought they did a pretty good job.
All right. What about you, Shadow?
Honestly, there was one thing I couldn't help noticing that the female actresses, I would have hired a whole bunch of more attractive women to play the hookers. It was.
I like how that's
there was
the only thing
one-
you think about.
I mean, let me explain. Because I would have to be.
You know my mom's watching this, right?
I don't care. I can't imagine how shit-faced drunk I would have to get to find any of them attractive. They were just really homely. There was one woman who delivered the note in the jail cell who was actually very attractive. And she was in the movie for about 30 seconds. And I'm like, who hired these women? Were they like, relatives, some sort of thing like that? Because, I mean, I get it. It was supposed to be the Old West, and glamour wasn't like a huge thing, but these women were like, no offense, if they're
Well,
still
here's the
alive,
thing.
probably
Here's the
not.
thing. One of
But,
them
I
was
mean, you'd have
French,
to at least- Holy
and
shit.
two, they're robots.
I get that, but I mean, to think about it, because they kept talking about pleasure models and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'd be like, sorry, no, no matter
But
how
only
drunk,
because-
it'd be just a no.
But not
You-
because
you
they're
wanna sell
robots
that.
and they're not people, but just because you don't find them attractive. That's
Well,
that's
no,
the
because
only reason.
I assume the woman who brought the note to Peter in the jail cell was also a robot, and they kind of even though they were all bit parts, they were just really I seriously doubt they ever got any other work elsewhere. And if you're going to sell the idea of trying to get people to boink these machines, you're probably going to work a little harder, don't you think? I mean, not that I approve of it. It's just that they really didn't go very far with trying to sell that. And with this kind of money making operation, you would think that would be one of the first things they really focused on. And instead, they were just sissy SpaceX looking. You know what I mean? They were just.
He wants more Raquel Welch and less, someone that like. But no, I agree with you. I was kind of surprised. I did think the girl for the medieval world was attractive. The
Daphne.
I guess whatever one that turned out.
Right. And if you're gonna show a scene, where people are doing a person and a blender are doing these things, it's just
Yeah, there's no real difference between these kind of robots and a blender other than their function.
No.
Stop saying bad things
There's
about
a
Winterland.
huge difference between these robots and a blender.
Hey.
Not morally, not spiritually.
Wait.
And no offense to Mark's channel, because he knows how to blend things right. It was just like
True.
poor casting. They could have done better, because I guarantee if you were to go over to the Roman world, apparently it was easier to sell that sort of an activity, because they actually, if you hear them, they were actually, it was part of the marketing. It was part of the allure of going there, to get people to do these things, and just
See, this is why we need limitations on corporations, so they don't do this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But it just seemed like, I looked at the robots that we're making today with that in mind, and some of them actually look, you know, incredibly realistic, and these ones just look like they literally went down to North Hollywood and went down the street and went, how much, and said, okay, you know what I mean? They were just, what? You can do better. You know what I
One
mean?
of
You can
the
do better.
actresses, Anna Randell, she played, what character did she play? Daphne. She played Daphne in Westworld. She was a playmate. She she was in Playboy. She was in Playboy. She was
Well,
a Playboy.
yeah, but that was the one in medieval.
Bring out the
That's
firing
not the one in
squad.
Westworld. The one in Westworld was the two in Westworld were. I have to admit,
Lindsay Gay Scott played the main one. And
That's
I'm
pretty
looking
gay.
all right. All right. Ease up on that word there, Haas.
Isn't that's part of her name?
Yeah, but it's you.
Oh my god.
So Lindsay Scott was the worked in the saloon. She was a saloon girl, and she's not a bad looking woman at that time. So I don't know.
I don't know. I
But
thought the Indian looking girl was pretty cute.
oh, Sharon Winter, or how you say her name? Yeah, I don't think the women. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the women in this movie. That's kind of wasn't my draw to this movie. It was,
The fact that Shadow told you to watch it.
no, I've seen this movie beforehand when I realized they were making a TV show called Westworld. And honestly, the only reason why I watched Westworld was because it had the Sir Anthony Hopkins in it, and he's one of my favorite actors. So I figured I'd give it a go. And it turned out, once I understood what was going on, because boy, did they jump around a lot in the first season. Jesus.
I liked RoboCop,
All right.
but no. I mean the guy that was, I can't remember his name. The one in the TV series.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was an older TV series, Westworld.
No,
TV series.
no. I mean the
current one.
yeah. Well, I'm saying the new version had the guy that was that also played RoboCop.
Peter Weller.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I didn't mean to completely derail that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. What's the scene? I would have actually kind of chucked out Medieval World. I would just have took every scene that had that in it, except for the end. I would have chucked out. Let the audience know there are these two other parks. You could have done it as they're walking through before they get dressed. Have a great big table layout. This is Westworld. This is medieval times. This is Romeland, which whatever.
Why would you call it Roman World? That is such a ridiculous name. If you're gonna fit this, like, it has to be like Westworld. That's cool. Medieval world, whatever. Roman world? No, that's not how words are supposed to be fit together. At least call it Rome world if you want that. But no, they had to be stupid and name it in a way that is completely ridiculous. Right? You can't just smash two words together and expect it to sound nice, right? When you're naming these things, people typically spend a long time trying to figure out what sounds good. Obviously, not always. Some people don't care. But when you're trying to advertise things, typically you want to not say. You don't want to be forced to say a really stupid sounding word
Wait, Jack,
over and over and over again.
Hey, wait a minute, Jack. What would you have named it?
What would I have named it? I mean, for one, if we really want to fit this whole thing, having them all be one syllable probably would be better.
No.
Rome World.
For Rome, what would you have named it? Because I just want to hear what name comes to your mind. Because I agree with you. Rome World just sounds bad. But
yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue that.
No,
yeah, Roman World sounds bad. Maybe Rome World sounds a little bit better, but it's not good. But still, you'd probably... Again, I would have to think about this.
Okay, wait.
But,
Okay, Connell, what would you name Rome World? And we'll come back to you, Jack.
Nero's Pleasure Palace.
All right, Mark, what would you have named it?
I hate you.
I don't know, what would you call it, a Greco-Roman world or Hellenistic period Western
That was
civilization?
definitely the Nero.
I think they named it that and put it that so they could get the masses and everybody would get the idea, like that of what it is and what it's about. And that's what they do in advertising, right? So they're trying to cut to the chase, and everybody baseline has an idea of what this place is. So I don't know that it was wrong to call it that. It may sound a little weird, come off the tongue weird, but
Shadow, what would you have named Rome World?
Honestly, I can't think of anything.
Okay, Jack, are you ready, or should I give mine?
You give yours.
I would have called it the Imperium.
That only works if you're going there and they're in the middle of a war.
It's the imperial time for Rome. That's
right. No, I get what you're saying, but if you go in there and it's the retelling of the Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe or Spartacus, yes, I can get with that name. But it wasn't. It was I don't go hang out at the beach. And that's Nero. That was basically Nero's.
Well, I would have, and to be fair, I would have probably called it Nero's Imperium.
Yeah,
that's what I. But I would have made it sound, like, yeah, I want to go there because that sounds cool as because WestWorld does sound cool because like it's a single syllable with another, it rolls off the tongue. But I agree.
Yeah,
everything you need to know. Really? Everything you need to know is in the title, WestWorld.
Maybe Caligula World. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? I might have called it the arena and focused more on that.
But that wasn't the point of it.
I know.
But that was in like when it was first introduced. Like, go to a Roman world where you can be the worst person ever and just be completely gay and nobody cares because they're robots, which makes it worse. Well, no, sorry, this isn't Greek.
Only if you look at them in the eyes. Just remember that. Only if you look them in the eyes.
Bloody hell. All right. Anywho, bloody hell, you guys.
He's like,
is it off the air yet? Is it off the air?
I've been demonetized already. All right, from now on, we're just gonna have to ban 2 words from you. Anyway, go ahead.
What 2 words?
Ban 2 certain words.
Yeah.
Wait, which ones? I think I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know that.
As if he didn't know.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right, okay. Caligula World.
He's been listening to too much.
I have a friend watching the show, and Caligula World for the win. I yeah.
Wow.
I would have done Nero's Imperium. Watch Rome burn. And the smoldering, along with having Fabio with his hair, right there holding the whole Harlequin romance. Anyway, go ahead.
Of all the Caesars out there who've had like historical movies based on life, I'm surprised no one's done a Nero because he's actually had somewhat of an interesting life. I mean, he's more than raping his sister and cutting the baby out guy. There was more to him than just that. I'm not saying he was a great guy, but there's a lot of history behind him that was really interesting. Okay, so we got. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have.
Like I wasted my afternoon for this, right?
No, I'm sorry, Mark.
I apologize. I just have strong feelings on this movie.
Yeah, we know you have strong feelings. I'm waiting for the manifesto to come out. Jack's manifesto.
I'm writing it.
I know you are.
He's dictating it as we speak.
I know.
Okay. What did you guys think of the ending? I thought the ending was kind of soft. And after I asked the question,
it should have been a gunfight. It should have been a gunfight.
All right. So
I mean, it was clever. The fire and all that. I got that. That was kind of, because he wasn't, that kind of a guy. He wasn't a gunfighter. Sure, we got the character arc where he started to, get, in tune with the character and the world, but it would have just been so much more satisfying if, they had just, faced off and, he got him. You know what I mean? That would have been, less believable, but more satisfying, and the fire, it was just, I know why they did it, kind of like I was saying with the movie, with I'm pretty sure it was Dennis Weaver, the movie Duel, where he's just that mild mannered, salesman in his car, and his big oil truck is just trying to run him off the road, that kind of, Davy and Goliath sort of feel to it, but it just came off making him look, weak, I think, in the end.
Yeah. All right, Mark. What did you think of the ending?
I thought it was okay. It could have been. But I think once again, I'm gonna keep saying this. I think it was a product of its time. I think a lot of movies in the '70s ended that way, and I don't know. To me, it left a little bit of ambiguity. I mean, do you think this guy actually made it out of there, or he's still? I don't know. Some of the a lot of the robots were obviously shutting down because of the time frame, but some were still operational, as we saw with the Yul Brenner robot. So, it's kind of left for you maybe to fill in the gaps. Do you think this guy made it out, or how did he make it out? I don't know.
Omen?
I'm going to bring a little bit different because I actually didn't mind the fact that his gun depowered, and I think that if put it back in, that would have really caused a problem. What I would have thought was interesting from my perspective is if we kind of had a Rory Beatty moment from Blade Runner, where he's going through, he's been burned and things, and he goes, "I just wanted to live," or something like that, and then something where it would have said that they weren't just machines and they didn't just kill. Kind of that oddly enough is to bring kind of a humanity to him rather than. To be fair, they're playing a lot of the stuff off the fears that people have. We've all had this. Not that I'm not sure if we all watched Deus Ex Machina at some point, but not that I've watched it either. But I would have liked to have seen something more than just what was kind of the problem that I had with the old WestWorld or the new version, which was they stopped really. They kind of pretend they had emotions and they just became psychopathic killers, which lost a lot of your sympathy for them. And I said, that to me is the, going through a full arc makes it kind of strange and interesting. I understand why he did it. I thought it was kind of interesting when he gives her the water and, she shorts out. I thought that was kind of, but yeah, I like the idea where he shot the acid at him. Though I thought that was kind of strange. Like he couldn't hear him, like he wouldn't know. That was that kind of thing. Is I thought that he should have done, and I understand the idea of going through, but if he has better hearing, he could have probably heard that guy's heart beating as he walked by. Because that was me like right through his throat as he's like boop 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 boop. Right before he throws the acid. There's some of that I felt would have kind of worked in my opinion, and then I did like but. Sometimes the ending just felt kind of slow. It was really good having him walk there, but I did like the fact when they did the with the torch and he went over there. But I would have liked to have seen something, to be fair, more like the Terminator, where he after they burn him up and he thinks he's won, and then he keeps coming. It's like, and then you see the skeleton, which I know that I guess they could have done it back then because they still had the stop motion stuff, but. But no, I think that would have been a much cooler aspect for the ending in that way. I think Terminator did a better job as far as, when your monster gets burned. And then you have to crush it.
Yeah, it's like most of those horror movies. You think it's dead, then it hops back up 6 seconds later, and you got to shoot it 15 more times or whatever. Yeah, I get you.
Well, we can talk about Terminator another day, but yeah.
Yeah, I think might have to throw that somewhere on the list because the old Terminator movie is worth watching.
But to me, that was that's an evolution of what to me should have happened in Westworld. Is every time he thinks he destroys it, it keeps coming back, even though it's getting more and more damaged. And it's like, how do I stop it? This one kind of felt like it wasn't quite as much. When he's going there, he's talking to the technician there. It's like, well, you can try using acid. That will do something. And then you can try doing this. It's all right. But yeah, I wish that they'd done a little bit more.
All right.
It was anticlimactic at the end is the best phrase.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to put it. What about you, Jack? What did you think of the ending?
Should have happened sooner.
Well, if we just cut out the bar scene, it would have.
I don't actually really hate the bar scene.
And the Rome scene. And
yeah, just cut out Rome from the whole movie. That's let's just cut it out. Didn't like it. But genuinely, I didn't have that much of a problem with the ending of the movie. Maybe it could have happened a bit faster, but I didn't have a problem with it. My problem more lie with the philosophy implications and other things that happened in the movie.
I think that's the point of the movie, is to make you question those things.
Well, yeah, but they still happened.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is there's two things. Are you just a passive observer? You're not thinking of what's going on, and you eat your popcorn, you leave, and you forget about the movie, or it's a kind of thing like, that was kind of strange, and would I do that? And where's the moral aspect to it? That's the you want to ask those deeper questions. It's so.
Yeah, I think that goes hand in hand with whenever a new technology comes out. It's like what's the moral ramifications and what's the moral ambiguity pertaining to certain things. Is this right or wrong? I don't know. You could argue that since these machines were becoming self-aware, does that mean does something have to have a soul to be alive? If it's coming, if it's self-actualizing, it's riffing on Frankenstein, I think, a lot too in this movie. But yeah.
To be honest, I don't. I think I already said this. Actually, I know I already said this, but I'm going to say it again anyways. I don't feel it's possible for a machine like this unless there's somehow an actual soul in there, which would imply other things that I don't think any of us, except for maybe Connell, actually like. But yeah, I just don't.
Well, here's the kind of argument for you there, Jack. Me and you are both Catholic. Here's the kind of argument: do animals have souls?
I mean, souls in the same way humans do? No.
No.
But they're still alive.
No. According to the dogma of the Catholic Church, humans are the only creatures on earth that have souls. Therefore, your pet dog, rabbit, so forth and so on, does not have souls. And they do. Monkeys have sex for fun, but they don't have souls. So could a robot have sex for fun? Yes, using your argument.
No, because it's not even alive. That's my problem. They're not alive.
Your argument's about the soul, though. The original comment was about the soul.
You're right. I should have phrased what I'm saying better. But yes, either way, they are not alive. They are simply pieces of machinery. And what I said was, my wording should have been better. Unless they have a soul, meaning unless they are alive, unless they are in some way have a humanity, which they don't, they aren't alive.
I know there's humans out there that don't have humanity.
But they still have souls.
Yeah. They're still humans.
That's
a robot is not a human. A robot is a piece of machinery designed to serve a purpose.
You know what? I feel the same way about children. You're not alive until you leave home, and you're no longer requiring your parents to leave off of. No, I'm just
I'm not trying to be too argumentative with you, Jack, but the whole souls statement And I know when you're Catholic and I am, I can work that argument.
Well, yes, I admit that was a poor choice of words, but that doesn't change what I'm saying.
No, I mean,
No.
It's a tin can with a couple of holes in it with a computer chip that tells it to do certain things. There's
what more do you want out of life? You play video games, right?
What more do you
Yes.
want out of a woman? No, I mean just anyway.
I would not say that. I would not say that.
I am going to commit a war crime upon the entire country of Greece.
Okay. All right. My problem with the ending is this. I thought it was soft bake. When I say soft bake, was this guy's been running away from the robot the entire time. He never exactly stood up until he found a cheat. Acid might work, or they're immediate. Yeah, he dies, and the robot becomes deaf, and his lazy ass doesn't pick up a sword and chop the bastard's head off like a man. He takes a torch off the wall and he burns it. And all in the back of my head, I could just hear the witch from Wizard of Oz screaming, "I'm melting! I'm melting! I'm melting!" That was my problem with the ending. How I would have done it differently, and I know I didn't really answer this part, but the way you kind of did, Omen, kind of answered said it, was I would have the guy pushed up against the wall. He still has his gun on him for one reason or the other, and the unrelenting man in black is just keeping. And he's been shot. He's not been shot once. He's been shot 3 times, but not in death. Fall over dead. But he's dying. He's bleeding out, and he pulls the gun and he shoots from the hip, and that bullet goes right into the man in black's head. The robot falls over. A screen fades to black as he's laying there holding himself, thinking he's dying, and credits.
I mean, I think there's a lot of ways, but you know what? Michael Crichton did this with a lot of his old movies. If you ever watch, what was the other movie that he did? Was I think
a lot of movies.
Andromeda Strain.
Andromeda
Was
Strain
Coleman
was
made into
a
one?
letdown at the end of the movie too.
Which one?
Andromeda Strain was a letdown. I think that's the one right before this that he did.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I need to, but
No, you don't need to see it.
No,
you can
Nope.
see it. I'm telling you, it's kind of boring, but that's fine.
can't be worse than the something black hole from Disney.
Yes, it is. I thought it was worse. No, I mean it depends.
And
At
I
least the
actually
black
want
hole
to
from
see that
Disney-
one because I want to see that one. I've only seen it once, and it was so long ago I can't remember anything about it.
I can't pronounce it. The Stream movie or the black hole.
The 1979
Black
The
Hole.
Black Hole.
Yeah,
I
that
want to see
movie-
Black Hole just because I don't remember anything about it except the robots and very little of that. And I actually read the book.
Maximilian and Vincent were the robots.
And Bob.
And, yeah.
Which
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
is one that brought up Bob and said I couldn't remember his name.
But we got like 30. Yeah, we got a little bit. I've asked all the questions I wanted to. I think we as a group beat this robotic horse to death.
Real quick, kudos to the stunt man that got set on fire, though.
Yes.
shit.
You know what?
Jesus Christ, that
Jack
went
and I
on
were
and on
talking
and
about
on.
that.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to ask you a quick question. I don't know if this was true. It looked like they did that they got Yul Brynner initially to start on fire, and then they cut away for the scene and then come right back to the stunt man.
I wonder, maybe they did. I
Full
wonder.
fire. I was just curious if that's.
Well, there was a scene where he took off his face came off. Not when they're working on, but when he was in the medieval times, and his face came off. I thought that was kind of cool, actually. Now that I think about it, but yeah.
It was. I mean, the scene where they took off his face also was pretty cool, just because how realistic his face looked.
Like I said about that scene, I mean, other than them working on humans, human-looking creatures was fine. It was just the sock puppet horse and dog that did it for me. But Mark, you got anything you're doing this coming week?
No, I don't really have anything. I got a bunch of irons in the fire, and we're in the process of moving and all that stuff. So, no, I don't have anything real. Yeah.
Moving to somewhere else in Indiana?
Yeah, about, I don't know, 6-7 miles south of where I live now, I guess.
That's a big move.
Well, is that a congratulations or
It's a something.
Okay. Oh, speaking of which, I'm reading it. Yul Brynner did his own stunt, including the fire.
Okay. Oh wow.
Damn. I like the guy. I just got that much more respect for the man.
Yeah, totally.
Agreed.
'Cause I don't even think they had the gel. I don't even think the gel that they used for most of these scenes was even created at that juncture. I don't know. All right. What about you,
That's
Shadow?
pretty brave.
What do you got going on?
Oh, I'm going to be doing another prepper video, another Amber review. I've got let's start at the beginning. Tonight I am supposed to be in Rick from 28 millimeters Traveler game tonight. Looking forward to that. Monday's our day off because God knows we need it. Tuesday I should be doing a prepper video where we'll be talking about self-defense equipment, which has been, people have been asking for that one for quite some time. And Bo from Bo Paints Minis should be my sidekick on that one. Of course, Grim will be my co-host on that one. Then Wednesday, Gatekeepers with Jade, and I'm not sure if you're going to show up, Connell.
Yeah,
Thursday will be part two. Thursday will be part 2 of Last Eclipse on a Talabar, the Traveler game I'm running for the Table Breakers guys, and Friday hanging out with Bo in his GURPS game, and start the whole weekend all over again. Hope you guys will go over to Bruce Lombardo or Baron G Rock channel and give that video a look-see and let me know how I did. Other than that, it's kind of the same thing. Me and the little guy will try to put some stuff together.
Emphasis on try.
Right. This is his last week, or is this your last week of school, or is next week the last week?
Second to last week.
Okay, second to last week of school, but I know he's got a lot of homework and not catching up, but final stuff to do before the end of the year. And I'm not gonna really push him in front of the camera unless he really wants to. We may do another treasure chest video just because those are always fun. I like showing off some of the really old crap in my collection. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, what do I got going on? Wednesday, I will be hosting Gatekeepers when we'll be talking about problematic players. What makes them that way? What can we do with them? And does kicking them off the table really the best option? That's what.
Hold up. Did you just unironically use the word problematic?
Yes, a problematic.
Just that word leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Constantly used by, that crowd, which I'm not totally convinced you are not a part of. But anyways.
Well, we're going to have a conversation after the show. A show there, young man.
That's the point.
All right. Problematic players.
All you youth that are problematic. Stop trying to say everything else in the world is. Fix yourselves, damn it.
I agree.
All right. How to deal with problematic players at the table. Kick them, talk to them, give them more food, see what the problem is what we'll be talking about on Wednesday. And I will be hosting it on this channel at 7:30 on Wednesday. Thursday, I will be joining the Table Breakers, as Shadow said, and we'll be doing part 2 of what the fuck did I get myself into?
Coward.
I'm not a coward. The character's not a coward, but we're in a very sticky situation right now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch last week's. Shadow's a great DM, and he likes putting his players in sticky situations. Friday, I most likely will be playing Warhammer Fantasy away from my camera with a bunch of grognards who love the old-fashioned way of gaming, and I get to make fun of the dwarfs because I'm a racist elf. Saturday is Bruce.
Aren't you a dwarf?
Hold on. Excuse me for the interruption. If everybody would hold on really quick. I got to room. Saturday, I will be hanging out with Bruce on his channel as the Knuckleheads and me figure out what we need to do next in his campaign. This coming Sunday, me and the crew and Jack, of course, will be talking about Kurt Russell's attempt of being a cowboy, One Bone Tomahawk, which I believe was Mark's choice. I look forward to talking to that. Then after this will be the last of the Westerns. We don't know what we'll be doing next month. I got a couple ideas. I'm sure they have a couple ideas. But as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Everybody out there, have a lovely Sunday. If you need to, like Jack, go raid your rival. If not, go have some fun. Everybody out there, have a good night.
God bless.
Say bye, Jack.
Oh, I'm back?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Say bye.
Adios, buenas noches.
Hey, I want some nachos now.
Too bad.